Stop. Don't sign it. The scream cracked through the billionaire's boardroom like a gunshot. Head spun. The pen froze mid-stroke, and every eye in that glass-walled penthouse snapped to the black woman in the emerald dress, hands shaking, voice slicing the hush to ribbons. She wasn't supposed to exist in this space, let alone interrupt the billion-dollar ritual at the heart of Manhattan. But Denise Parker stepped forward anyway, one trembling hand pulling a battered manila folder from her apron, knowing full well that what she did next could ruin her life or save someone else's. Let me back up a sec, because nobody walks into a storm like that without a whole hurricane behind them. The day started hours before 4:30 a.m. Central Park glowing blue beyond the frosted windows, and Jonathan Cross, the kind of man they write magazine profiles about, rolled out of bed and into destiny. The guy was a steel-jawed, silver-haired CEO with the sort of blue eyes that could chill or charm, depending on whether you were in his way. He'd built Cross Dynamics from nothing, literally nothing, unless you count a Georgia trailer park as a launch pad. Today he was finally about to ink the deal of his life. $47 billion, a merger with Pinnacle Industries, and a shot at becoming the most powerful man on the East Coast. It was supposed to be his victory lap custom suit, marble bathroom, platinum cufflinks. His assistant, Victoria Kane, was waiting downstairs, red suit crisp, blonde hair pulled into a blade of a bun. Victoria was the kind of woman you hired when you wanted something done and when you didn't mind a little blood on the floor. For 8 years, she and Jonathan had been the sharpest knives in the drawer. Unstoppable. Meanwhile, 27 miles away, Denise Parker was rolling out of a mattress in a cramped Queens apartment, already behind on sleep, already counting the dollars in her mind. Her son Tyler, 10 years old, alarm clock, best friends hook her awake. Big day, mama. You gotta go. She kissed his forehead, shoved her cracked MBA diploma deeper into the purse, and packed up for another day nobody would see her. Her uniform of green that glowed against her skin was, for Le Bernardin, Manhattan's poshest lunch spot. She was serving a billionaire's party today. Pay was good. Tip might be better. Maybe, just maybe, this would be the day things changed. The city churned on, but inside Le Bernardin, Denise ghosted through the setup, adjusting silverware, staying invisible. She'd learned that trick. In fancy rooms, nobody notices the help. Nobody except, maybe, Margaret Thornton, the restaurant's dragon lady manager, pearls tight, mouth tighter. Don't screw up, Margaret hissed as she handed over a $24,000 bottle of Chateau Margaux. You drop this, you pay for it with your life. The sharks arrived right on time, Jonathan and Victoria first. Eyes everywhere, followed by the Pinnacle execs and the company lawyer, Bobby Coleman, who looked one minor heart attack away from quitting. Toasts were made. Laughter echoed. Underneath, nerves snapped. Denise watched Jonathan's hands, clocked the tremor, the sideways glances at Victoria. She poured wine, her fingers sure, until suddenly they weren't. Jonathan's elbow jerked, a splash of red arced across white linen, across his shirt, across the Navy contracts. Silence. Then heat. You know what I mean? Jonathan snapped, his voice slicing Denise to the bone. You couldn't afford this wine in 10 lifetimes. Get out. Let a professional fix this. Denise stood, her ground years of swallowing pride burning in her chest. She apologized, eyes level. She offered to pay for dry cleaning to fix the mess, but it was never about the wine. It was about power. Jonathan wanted someone to blame. Denise was convenient. But then, as she turned away, her eyes snagged on the contracts, a flash of recognition sparking from some dark, locked place in her mind. The addendum, the subsidiary list. She knew it. She knew what Pinnacle was hiding. Something inside her snapped tight. She did what nobody in her position ever does. She spoke up. Don't sign those contracts, she said, voice barely more than a whisper, but somehow the loudest thing in the room. Victoria moved to have security remove her, but Jonathan stopped her. Let's hear it. And Denise, trembling, angry, but with nothing left to lose, told him what she knew. She'd written those liability reports. She'd been director of compliance at Pinnacle 3 years back, fired when she blew the whistle on their dirty laundry environmental lawsuits, regulatory violations, billions in hidden liabilities buried under shell companies. They'd ruined her career. Now, fate dropped her into the one place she could actually stop them. The room exploded. Jonathan, rifling through the contracts, pale as death. Victoria tried to gaslight him, smooth things over. But the documents Denise carried her last hope. Her shield told the truth. "Cancel the signing," Jonathan said, voice shaking. "Bobby, we need a full audit." The deal fell apart. The Pinnacle team left in a storm. Victoria's mask slipped. 8 years of partnership shattered over a glass of spilled wine. Upstairs in the now-empty boardroom, Jonathan finally asked the question that mattered. "Who are you?" "Denise Parker," she said, and for the first time, someone listened. From there, everything changed. Victoria's betrayal unraveled under scrutiny: offshore accounts, secret consulting fees, her signature all over the fraud. Jonathan's empire, teetering on the edge of collapse, was saved by the woman he'd just humiliated in front of a roomful of power brokers. The person he dismissed as worthless was the only one who'd bothered to save his hide. In the federal building days later, Denise and Jonathan sat together as witnesses, the CEO almost destroyed by his own arrogance. She, the whistleblower, finally heard. Detective Frank Morrison, all gray suit and tired eyes, walked them through what would happen next. They'd work together, build the case, track Victoria down. Neither trusted the process, but both knew they had no choice. The world of mergers and millions had spat them out, but now they were partners, an odd couple, but the only hope for real justice. Working side by side, Denise saw Jonathan change slowly, stubbornly. He listened. He apologized. He learned her son's name. She learned about his childhood, the dirt-poor beginnings, the shame he'd spent his whole life trying to outrun. Turns out, under the steel was someone who knew what it was to be invisible, too. Love crept in sideways through midnight strategy sessions, through shared coffee, through the way Jonathan taught Tyler long division at the safe house when the threats started coming. Victoria wasn't done. She was angry, cornered, and dangerous. Surveillance. Threats. Then, one morning, a chemical attack on the safe house, smoke under the doors, alarms howling, backup slow to arrive. Jonathan, facing death, tried to trade his life for Denise and Tyler's safety. Denise, refusing to let him, crawled through an air shaft, detonator in hand, ready to risk it all. On the lawn, as federal agents closed in, Denise confronted Victoria, reminding her that what they both wanted wasn't blood, but recognition, respect, and dignity. In a final twist, it was Tiller, a 10-year-old with more sense than all the adults, who changed the equation. "Respect isn't something you take," he said. "You earn it by protecting people smaller than you." Victoria's hands shook. Her weapon dropped. Maybe, in another world, she and Denise would have been allies instead of adversaries. The feds took her in. The nightmare ended. And for a moment, all that was left was sunlight, possibility, and a long exhale no one had dared breathe in years. So here's the thing: sometimes the people you step on are the only ones who will ever pick you back up. Sometimes the worst day of your life is just the start of something better, if you're brave enough to see it through. Jonathan Cross rebuilt his company, but this time with Denise as his partner, Tyler safe by their side, and new respect for every invisible person who'd ever crossed his path. But you tell Matos that count as justice? Is it enough for a billionaire to change after the fall? Or should people like Victoria Kane get a second chance, too? Comment below. Tell me where you stand. Who's right? Who's wrong? And what does justice really look like when the world runs on money and power? Let's hear your stories.